Hey, what's good, everybody? I just want to do a quick live today, talk about the fights yesterday, and I want to talk about more social media beef from Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, and Javante Davis. Uh, all right, so Fury fought Chisora yesterday, and he looked it good. He won every round. I felt like he should have got the job done way earlier, but he knocked out Chisora in the 10th round. And Fury still looks like himself. He was good, UGC. Yeah, Fury still looks like himself. He showed good movement, kept turning Chisora, had the 1-2, heavy 1-2. And he was just boxing this fight. In my opinion, I feel like he carried Chisora. That's why I really didn't want to bet on Tyson Fury's knockout this time because I know that he was personal friends with Chisora, and he really didn't want to do him too dirty. But everybody know Fury was fun to win the fight. But Fury, he say that he's ready for that Usyk smoke. Usyk said that he needed the February, and Fury didn't want to wait that long. So he got this tune up in with Chisora. So we got to see what happens with that. And Chocolatito and Estrada last night. The fight. Me personally, I'm with Chocolatito. I thought it was a draw, or maybe he won it by a round. He had the slow start. Estrada, he was boxing well off the back foot, but it was a lot. See, in them middle rounds, Estrada to me, he was using a lot of footwork, not throwing a lot of punches, but he was flurrying towards the end of the round, and he made it look really good. And I feel like he stole some rounds from Chocolatito, but he won the first three, in my opinion. But Chocolatito, he had found a groove, and he was landing his right hand. He didn't land a straight right to the body enough. That's one of his best punches he was known for. But he had a lot of success on Estrada. Estrada showed bad reaction to a lot of those punches, like he was hurt, but he wasn't hurt. You know what I mean? I feel like Chocolatito won at least 6 rounds because Estrada, he was showing good ring generalship, but he wasn't like really boxing to that level. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't really separating himself from Chocolatito. He was getting hit a lot. You know what I mean? But they say the end of the second fight was like a robbery. So I knew that Chocolatito wasn't probably finna get the decision, but it was a good fight, but it wasn't like fireworks as everybody thought every second. Cause Chocolatito, he's gotten a little older. And Estrada, he was trying not to get messed up too bad. He was boxing. He was trying to turn Chocolatito and keep him moving so he don't really get to plant his feet and really get to touch him. You know what I mean? But he got the decision or whatever. It is what it is. DAZN been wanted to do that third fight for a while, like the Triple G Canelo. But Shakur Stevenson and Haney last night, they was on H Money channel. Props to H Money, man. H Money, he be getting fighters and don't Donaire and all them. He be getting people on there. But he had Shakur Stevenson. It was Bill Haney at first, and I liked the energy. You feel me? Shakur, he had to step to Bill Haney because Bill Haney said that Shakur had made a publicity stunt because after the Conceição fight, Shakur said that he willing to fight Devin Haney as soon as possible. You know what I mean? So and Bill was like, "Oh, you lying? You're not really trying to get that fight or whatever." And the WBC they mandated Shakur to fight Pitbull, but Pitbull ducked the fight. I'm not really surprised on that. See, Pitbull, he been ducking top competition. The only top competition Pitbull want to fight is Tank in the rematch. And in my opinion, he ain't even really looked that good against Tank. He just didn't get knocked out. And he won by 3 or 4 rounds. The fight, he ain't have no argument to win that fight against Tank. He's a little overrated to me. That's why I want to see him fight somebody else, because I think the majority of these top lightweights in the top 10 will be him. Probably Pitbull probably will beat like one or two. He probably will clip somebody maybe. But I feel like the top lightweights will beat Pitbull Cruz easily, like in the fashion Tank did with just one hand. But yeah, Haney and Shakur, Shakur, he wants that fight. He didn't even know himself that he could push for that fight, behind to get the fight over Lomachenko, because Shakur, he was a unified champ moving up from 130. Sometimes you can get first dibs at title shots, when you coming from being unified. It's a lot of times it be undisputed, but when you're a champion, you can move up and get title shots off the rip sometimes. And Shakur, he don't have that opportunity right now. You know what I mean? Because Bob Arum, he wants Lomachenko to have that fight with Devin Haney, because Lomachenko, he stepped aside. Remember, Lomachenko could have been undisputed right now. Lomachenko really could have had that fight over Devin Haney, the fight Kambosos. And you know that he would have been favored to beat him as well. So it's up to Haney, to be honest, because Haney, it seemed like he was finna fight Lomachenko, and they say that he was finna fight Lomachenko, then move up. And people say that he ducking Shakur Stevenson if he don't fight Shakur Stevenson as well. And I feel like that's not really the case, because, Haney, he looked at real drained. He looked at real drained in both of the Kambosos weigh-ins. He don't look like he got too many fights left in him to give Shakur Stevenson a shot. I'd be surprised if he even make the weight for Loma. You know what I mean? And oh yeah, and earlier, and also yesterday, Broner, he was on Blue Bud's page, and he said, and he confirmed what Tank said, because Tank has said on social media that he had touched up Shakur and Haney. He didn't say that he knocked out Devin Haney, but Adrian Broner, he doubled back and he said that he actually did knock out Devin Haney. He said he knocked out Haney in the sparring session with 16-ounce gloves and headgear on. And I feel like that's really concerning if that's the case, because in a real fight, they have gloves with half of that pad in there and no headgear. And especially if Devin Haney was to fight Tank at 135, you drained, and then you get hit with that power like that. I don't think that'll be it. That's why I always said I don't think it'll be a great idea for Haney to fight Tank at 135. At 140, where I feel like Tank's power is at a peak, and he don't have that one punch knockout power, but he still got that thump. And I feel like Haney would be more filled out. You know what I mean? And he'd be better off taking that punch, because Tank would have less power and Haney would likely have more punch resistance at 140. But as far as Haney and Shakur, That fight is at least a year or two down because he got to get through this Lomachenko thing. And I don't think I think, me personally, I think Haney would drain himself again for Tank because I don't think Tank would fight him at 140. Because you see this Ryan Garcia fight, it's at 136, not 140. And Ryan, he looked it real comfortable at 140. He looked it big. You know what I'm saying? He don't look like he can make 135 no more. I'd be surprised if he make that 136 for that fight. But he always was calling for the Tank fight. So I see him trying to get down there to 136. You know what I mean? But yeah, all of this is just social media. You know what I mean? Shakur Stevenson, if he did want that smoke, I mean, I would say call Aram up now, and you know what I'm saying, and talk about that. But I doubt that he'd let him skip Lomachenko. He ain't gonna let him skip Lomachenko. ESPN been wanting to see Lomachenko fight for them belts ever since he lost them to Teofimo. And Haney and Lomachenko, they already in negotiations. I heard that like almost a week ago. They already getting ready to fight one another. You know what I mean? But that's Haney got some great fights ahead of him. He got Lomachenko right now. He got Tank out of his mouth said that he wanted to fight Haney. So he can still attempt to make that. And you got Shakur Stevenson. He can move up, try to fight Tio. Hopefully Tio gets a hold of one of these belts. Because I don't see that fight happening without a belt. So yeah. And he could fight Regis too. Devin Haney could fight Regis. Devin Haney could fight Lomachenko and move up and mandate Regis Prograis for a fight. You know what I mean? Because when you undisputed, you can move up and pick whatever champion you want, and then they got to run it. That's another thought. People ain't even thinking about that fight like that. But yeah, I just wanted to have my input. See, Haney and Shakur, the Shakur talked to Haney and Bill Haney online for like 40 minutes, and all I can take from it is they're not going to fight right now. That's just what I take from it. Because in order for it to happen, I think Shakur Stevenson will have to push for that fight. And I'm not saying he won't, but he likely won't. And even if he does, they're not going to let him skip Lomachenko. And when Haney fights Lomachenko, and if he wins that fight, he's liable to be gone for 135. He'd really deserve a lot of respect if he drained himself again and fight Shakur Stevenson at 135 for all the belts. That'll be some real warrior shit right there. But yeah, though, drop the likes. Anybody passing through, I appreciate it. I just wanted to put my thoughts out there. And yeah, and I like and Tank Davis, what I was about to say. Yeah, I'ma just let that rumor be. Him and Adrian Broner say that they knocked Haney out in sparring. If it is what it is, if he did, I mean Haney was 17 back then, and then they came back and say Haney outboxed Tank because Tank wasn't in shape and he was fresh off the plane. I think that these guys are really like trying to paint that picture and building that fight a little bit, in our minds. Because half of the people feel like Tank is going to eventually clip him. So they painting that picture. And then Haney and Bill Haney, they telling us, oh, we outboxed the shit out of him. And a lot of people feel like Haney would do that. So they painting that picture. And all I can think about is whatever happened, it really don't matter because that shit really could go either way. And I wouldn't be surprised if that shit did happen. But yeah, though, let's see what's going on in boxing in these upcoming weeks. We got some decent fights coming up. Just not really ones that we want, you know what I mean?